in a minute. Hello and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. It's a Town Talk special as the Terriers terrorise Exeter but come away with a narrow win. Thank you for putting so many T's in there for me, Steve, on that one. Good evening, everybody. Good evening to Steve and good evening to Callum. First of all, Callum, how are you doing, my friend? Great to have you back on here. Have you had a lovely weekend?
Wonderful, chaps. It has been wonderful to see the mighty Terriers doing the mighty business once again. It seems that our hoodoo against teams that begin with B is a real thing as we go to Exeter, which firmly, I am sure, begins with an E and pick up 3 points.
Yeah, I am dyslexic, but even that, I do know that it's definitely different letters. Steve, how are you, my friend?
Not bad. Not bad, thanks. Obviously, great to see that Town won. It's nice to see Callum back on here. It's a bit like Freddie Ladapo, really, isn't he? He's like, he only comes on for the big moments, doesn't he?
Well, we haven't got rid of him.
Well, if that means that you're going to release me into the podcast wilderness as a free agent, I'm going to expect some sort of payoff, quite frankly.
Breaking news, apparently. Breaking news.
Well, see you later, lads.
See ya. Thanks for being on, Cal. Bye-bye. Thank you for everyone tuning in so far. You know the score. Like, subscribe. You know it. I'm not going to bore you with it. But I will bore you with this. Please get your comments in. Let us know what you thought of the last 2 games. And, of course, we've got some other subjects to talk about, one of them being the stadium. But we're going to come on to that a little bit later on in the show. So maybe save them comments until then, until we've gone through the last 2 games that Town have played and also 2 upcoming games as well. So, Cal, first of all, Huddersfield Town versus Manchester City. Huddersfield 0, Manchester City 2. What did you make of the occasion?
I thought it was an interesting occasion. I mean, it was one of those games where if you go week in, week out, you think, right, well, we're playing Man City. We're not gonna sacrifice playing at full pelt, full strength side against, for very little endeavour. I thought when we drew Man City, I thought, right, good, that's us out of this trophy. Let's just get out of this trophy and get on with getting out of League One. But it's been a good cup run. I have thoroughly enjoyed it, I have to say. It's not been the deepest of cup runs, but what we've produced has been good. Some surprise results that have helped sort of get the fans on side a bit more. The tonic that I think we sort of needed after last season was something like that. A sort of swashbuckling Town side that go away to Premier League opposition on a Tuesday night and win. And you think, quality, nice one. But coming up against Man City, we're only ever going to go one way. And yes, they rotated, but so did we. They rotated, unfortunately. They went from quality to quality. When you've got a side that strong, and this is no shade to Cam Ashia, by the way. We can do the same thing, just maybe not on the same scale. But I'd have loved for him to have scored that when he's cut in. Classic Cam Ashia. I think we can say that at this point. Classic Cam cuts in, curling effort into the far corner, just hits the post. Gutting.
Yeah, he was already off celebrating, wasn't he, by the looks of it, Cal? And I was saying during my commentary, not that many people listened to it, but it was just fantastic to see so many star-studded names. The fact that maybe 2 days before in Paris, Donnarumma was named the best goalkeeper in the world, and then he was sat at the Aku watching Huddersfield Town. It's just unbelievable and a great experience, Steve, for the players as well. Let me just go through the lineup for Huddersfield Town. Nichols was in goal. Sorensen, Rowan, the two fullbacks. Feeney, Wallace in the middle of the park with Vost, Kasumu in there. Wiles in the midfield as well. Harness, Redmond on either side. And Dion Charles. And again, we spoke about the occasion. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed seeing at least 19,000 fans in there supporting Huddersfield Town. And the first half, I thought Town looked pretty good. Look, it was always going to be the case, I believe, that Town were going to have to sit back and defend. And they defended pretty well, right?
Yeah. Listen, I think from my point of view, it was great to come up against what I believe is still one of the best sides in the world. You mentioned people like Donnarumma. I mean, what a goalkeeper he's been over his career so far. And that's what's great about British football, isn't it? That they have all these star-studded world stars, and then they come and play at League One, Huddersfield Town, and we try and have a dust-up with them. Anybody attending that game had to realise straight away that, listen, even with Man City, making changes, look at the side that they put out. Blooming hell, Oscar Bob and Phil Foden were outstanding. I mean, literally outstanding in both halves, but particularly that first half. And I think we defend. Yeah, we did defend well. We were organised. We looked fit. Big respect to Dion Charles. To be fair to him, had very little of the ball, but absolutely ran his backside off, trying to press all over. And due to that sort of hard work that he was putting in, we did, have little bits here and there, didn't we? And we had certain opportunities, and I think that surprised a few people, which was really good to see. So, yeah, we might have, it might not have been the most attacking game from a Huddersfield Town point of view ever that we'll ever see at the Aku, sorry. But, I do believe that Town do deserve great credit for that first half performance in particular.
Yeah, and it was a brilliant, really, really good Phil Foden goal. The touch around the corner, the shot from the edge of the area. It was so far into the corner. It was always going to be hard for Nichols to stop that one. And in reality, they didn't actually have that many shots. I don't think that really concerned Nichols potentially in the first half. Look, he's made saves, but it wasn't anything where, that's a fantastic one. It was more routine, and I think that's got to be credit as well. Steve, going into the second half, Town are 1-0 down.
Yeah.
I felt as if there was a bit of a belief that maybe a couple of changes at half-time could have had Town getting something on the counter-attack.
Yeah, we were dangerous, or we tried to be dangerous with the counter-attack. And as Cal said, when you put people on like Cam Asher, who, want to really impress the manager to try and get a starting berth in the league fixtures, then fair play to the lads. I mean, I thought Vost as well, was good. And it just shows that the young lads are really, really trying to impress. I thought the second half was again decent. I had I came away from the whole game thinking that we haven't nobody's let us down there. Listen, on the same night, Barnsley got smashed 6-0 by Brighton, and I think Brighton made quite a lot of changes to their side by all accounts. So we didn't get smashed. We put up a really good fight. Oscar Bob and Phil Foden were the best players on the pitch by an absolute mile. And our lads did well, and I think defensively they can be really proud of themselves. Both goals are Champions League quality. Let's have it right. They are. what's the highlights? The movement. Where I sit, Oscar Bob was running down that wing all the time in the second half. His hips go in a different direction to his legs. I don't understand how humanly that is possible, but it did. And I'll tell you what, Sean Rowan for 70 minutes, 80 minutes? Did he come off near the end, I think? He looked shattered, did the lad. But I tell you what, he put a right performance in.
Yeah, and that's something I wanted to touch on. I've got quite a few comments to go through as well in a moment. But Cal, some individual performances on that Wednesday evening. I thought the back four was brilliant. I thought Sorensen was fantastic, and I think you've also got to look at the role Feeney played. A player on loan from the Premier League up against Premier League opposition didn't look too far off it.
No, I think if you look at the mentality at that Manchester City side and that manager have been described as mentality monsters on more than one occasion, because Pep Guardiola and that side are not the sort of side where even in a cup game they are going to go 1 or 2-0 up and go, you know what, right, it's in the bag, lads. Let's just sit off now. And it's fine. We'll just play the rest of the game out. No, they'll go after you, and they did. And to Town's credit, the scoreline is respectable because we kept it respectable. Not Manchester City. Our solid defending and sort of all round link up play, I thought was really good. You know, we've often said about older Towns teams, and this one to an extent, our biggest issue is not the individual areas. So our biggest issue is not defence, midfield, or attack. It's actually linking those areas together and making them work together. But I thought we did that really well in an environment where it would have been very easy. Where you go 1-0 down, 2-0 down, for those lads to go, oh, well, it's done now, innit? We're not going to come back against these. So let's just throw the towel in and sort of take the foot off the gas. But they didn't. And they kept resolute and kept it respectable. And yes, we lost and we're out of the cup, but there's a lot to be said for coming away from arguably the best team in the world, having lost 2-0. There's plenty of better teams that will go there and get absolutely spanked.
Absolutely, Cal. I think something that you've got to look at as well is that Town had opportunities. Town had opportunities, and this is what I was asking Steve earlier on. You know, maybe a couple of changes, get them on the counter attack. Could have been a little bit nervous. So I think it's time to go through some comments. Michael Bomley says, "Evening, Stephen, Kaine, and Callum. Hope you're all well. Thank you very much, Michael. We are good." Ian, I am assuming this is what you're talking about, the Manchester City game. Shock, horror. I had us to lose 2-0, but what a transformation, press, attack. Guess what? It would have worked. In fact, actually, I think that's about Exeter, which we are going to come on to in just a moment. Mark says, Man City was a big night for our lads. They defended the box brilliantly. Nico O'Reilly is destined to be a star of the future. And I also think he had to lose 6-1, defended well to keep the score to a minimum. So, yeah, definitely the earlier comment, Ian, is what we're going to talk about next. Anybody else got any comments on the chat box of what we're watching? The viewers, thank you very much for tuning in. Make sure you get your comments in. We really like to see them. We like your questions. We like to know what everything else that you've got to say. As Joe's just put one in saying, evening, fellas. So evening to you as well, Joe. And so, yes, Town got unfortunately lost to Manchester City, but what a fantastic cup run it was in the Carabao Cup, drawing to Leicester and Sunderland, but beating them both on penalties. And that's the Huddersfield Town way, is it not? Then a long trip down to Exeter. And you just felt as if, Steve, that Town needed to win. Essentially, you know, we're at a very critical stage in the season where a lot of people's opinions now probably count a little bit more because of how many games have been played, and you kind of judge off the 10 league games sort of area. You can forget about cup games because it's just not exactly the same. But it was a game where you've got to go away to Exeter, you've got to travel. Can you bring 3 points back up to Yorkshire? And first half, Steve, what were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, we going into the fixture, Kaine, I was saying on the Monday show, with the other lads that, it was a must win, really. You've got to look at Exeter. They've not won in five. They've won one, in 5 games, lost the other 4, and, they're not a good side at all. I think the big difference between Exeter and what we saw at Burton is that Burton are a very physical side, typified by their manager, where Exeter try and play football, but just not very well. And listen, I'll be honest, Kaine, we could have been 1-0 down in the first 3 minutes when McGuinness misses that absolute sitter of a chance. And I think if it had been a more quality player in that position, that we would have been 1-0 down. So we got lucky in the first 3 minutes. First 15 minutes, I thought we were slow. We looked a bit laboured, a bit. I don't know, maybe because we're the ones going there and the pressure's on us to get the result. And we looked like we were not fearful, but a bit like, it's a bit much, is this? And then after 15 minutes, I thought Kasumu got on the ball a bit more. I thought Sorensen was excellent on the day, if I'm honest. He controlled that left-hand side really well. And just overall, I thought that the performance after the first 15 minutes was far, far better. It was like something clicked and we decided to get on the ball, to pass to each other. Thought Ben Wiles was really good. And we had opportunities. And then, listen, the strike from Castledine is just absolutely wonderful. I mean, what a talent this kid is. We've had some right talents from Chelsea down the years when you look back, but he could be right up there we could be looking at a really, really good player going into the rest of his career. And it's just unfortunate that we're not going to have the money to buy him after his loan spell, to be honest, because he seems a nice kid as well from the interviews and stuff that I've seen on socials. So just a good, solid first half. After the first 15 minutes, Kaine, that's what I would say about the first half.
Yeah, Cal, it certainly did seem as if it took Town a good few moments to get into the game. In fact, Steve's done us a massive favour. We've got the lineup here. Are you ready for this one? So this is our Town lined up. Nichols was in goal. Ruskin, Sorensen, 2 fullbacks, Lowe and Feeney starting centre half. Ledson and Kasumi in the midfield. Wiles through the middle. Castledine was out on the left. Castledine, was out on the left-hand side. Harness on the right. Alfie May through the middle. What was your take, Cal, on the first half? And maybe we'll touch on the ratings, but once we've gone through the whole of the game.
I think Steve said it, called it right there. I think they were almost sort of trepidatious of maybe a potential banana skin. A little bit worried, and tinfoil hats on now, lads. I'm taking us down a dark alley, yeah. But wow. This is a side that in recent weeks has been battered by local rivals Bradford, and then has drawn in a drab 0-0 against the bottom side in the league. So these players will have had their fingers burned. Absolutely 100%. So there is going to be that element of, well, we don't want another one of them. Yeah. So let's not make any rash decisions. Let's not make any rash decisions that might lead to a mistake where we end up in that situation again. So I think we needed that first half to sort of foot on the ball, maybe just knock it about and level. And yeah, we did nearly go down that path again. And it's, there but for the grace of God that we didn't. But once we got into the second half, I think then we thought, right, no, we actually can play. We are actually a football team. So let's start showing the quality that we've been lacking. And when we did, we created great chances. And Castledine, what a talent, as Stephen said. To take that on shows confidence and ability. And, like you said, we've seen Chalabar come through. Colwell came through.
Palmer, Brown.
Keep going. But
Angerin.
I'm sticking that Chalabar is the best example, considering he's the only one that gets consistent minutes at Chelsea at the minute.
I mean, I think if Colwell wasn't injured, I'd have an argument with you. But sorry, I just had to intervene there because I think Colwell is an absolute Rolls Royce of a defender. Anyway, sorry, Cal.
The best loan we've ever had, I think, from Chelsea is still the left back that's gone out of my head. Oh,
unbelievable. Honestly, butts in Cal. I don't even know what he's talking about.
Chilwell. Honestly,
Chilwell.
Huh?
Ben, as in Ben Chilwell.
Ben Chilwell, fantastic left back when he came on loan. He was brilliant.
Would you describe him as a Rolls Royce? I'd probably describe him as like a Dacia.
But what I would say is he came on loan from Leicester, not Chelsea.
He did, but
idea.
Honestly, he's buttered in. He's buttered in. He's got his facts wrong. He forgot what he was talking about. Honestly, Steve, just you know what you need to do. Just mute yourself for a little bit. I'll come to you very shortly.
Have a think about what you've done.
Yeah, I might even take you off the stage for a moment.
I forgot he was at Leicester, to be honest.
Unbelievable. Anyway, let's go to some comments, Cal, before we come back to you in the second half. So let's get Ian Nichols' comments back up. Shock our headers to lose 2-0. But what a transition. Press. Attack. And guess what? It worked. Mark says it was great to see, putting what I believe to be the best performance of the season in terms of sustainable flowing football and dominance versus Exeter, but potentially our worst game for finishing. Ian says, best solid performance this season. Roll on Saturday and same again. Terrier 930 says, good 3 points yesterday, lads, but we should have been more goals yesterday, to be fair. What a bloody trek that was yesterday. I'm guessing you went down there, Terrier 930. Joe, I've seen your comment as well. I'm going to come on to that very, very shortly. Michael says, decent performance at Exit. What a goal by Castledine. Missed a lot of chances. Finishing needs to be better. Ian also says, Sorensen is getting better. Attacking football suits him to a T. Tippy-tappy football does not. I've got another comment from Terry 930 as well, but we will come to them. Carl, before we go on to the second half, Steve has put another image in for us here that I'm going to go over. My main points I want to go through here is total shots and total shots on target, big chances missed, or actually quite a few. According to these stats here, which Steve got off FootMob, 22 shots, 1 shot on target, 2 big chances created, 2 big chances were missed. Another day, another story, Cal?
Potentially. I mean, I'd have to look back at the other games' stats to see if there's a pattern there in any of those sort of areas. But I'm funnily enough, when we do this, I always sit with FootMob in front of me. So just in case I need to pull on some useless stat like
Ben Chilwell came on loan from Chelsea. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But like, I'm looking at the stats for the Man City game still because we were on about that. And would you say that if you would say that they dominated us, would you say that Town dominated Exeter at the weekend? Because the stats are quite similar. Because, Man City created more shots on target, more block shots, more shots inside the box, more shots outside the box, more total shots. We did that against Exeter. Did we also? Where's that graphic gone?
I can put it back up for you, pal. There you go. Do you want this one though as well? I can put that one up for you. These are your shots in total.
I've been on about. And then in terms of the other one, I think it's accurate passes. Yeah, the numbers aren't actually that different there compared to the City game where we made 195 passes to their 749. But you would say that Manchester City dominated us, and looking at those stats there, I would say that we dominated Exeter. So is the problem, and this leads on, I'm sorry, I'm stealing your job here, mate. Is the problem the finishing? Because we are creating enough to warrant the final product. We are not then getting the final product.
Cal, that's kind of the question I asked you, so I'm going to pass it over to Steve. Steve.
I'll go back to Cal.
Steve, have you had some time to think about what you said last time you butted in, and also what were your thoughts on the second half?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the second half? I'm gonna come to you both about the finishing at the end, if you don't mind, because I've got a nice comment from Joe to put on.
All right, I've had time to think about my last comment, and I wholly apologise for getting that start wrong. It was about 10 years ago when he did come on loan, so there we are. I've had a few beers and sleeps since then, but there we are.
Ever the professionals thing.
I don't do ifs or maybes. I do absolutes.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't profess to be an absolute god on knowledge, unlike you lads. Anyway, my thoughts on the second half is. I thought we were better going forward in the second half. I think the first half was good, and I know we're going to talk about the finishing in a minute. So we did create chances in the first half, but I thought there was more accurate penetration in the second half in terms of the runs forward, fullbacks, getting higher up, really putting Exeter on the back foot. I mean, again, the only chances that I think Exeter had was the one where Lee Nichols makes an absolutely outstanding one-handed save, by the way. But also, the only other chances that they had, I think, were from corners, and we defended them pretty well, to be honest. And that was maybe in the last 10 minutes when Exeter did really push to get an equaliser. So, and we had loads of chances in the second half before that to absolutely finish the game. I mean, Exeter are the worst side I've seen this season by far. I think they were poor on the ball. They were poor off the ball as well. They let us have it in dangerous areas. They gave the ball away in dangerous areas. I mean, I don't know what you lads thought, but the amount of times that Kasumu picked up a loose ball and then drove us forward was excellent to see. And that's what I've been crying out for in the last, 3 performances in the league, where we've had no drive from midfield, and Kasumu added that on yesterday against Exeter. So I thought the second half was really good. The best we've played this season, I think.
Steve, do you think the sloppiness from Exeter could be because Town looked as if the two midfielders were a bit higher up the pitch yesterday, rather than being a little bit on the toes of the defenders like they potentially have been over the last few games?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's a really good observation, and I think that made a massive difference for us to be able to springboard to go forward quicker, and like I said, more accurately. Where in the previous 3 fixtures, Ledson and whoever's been in Kasumu or Kaine has been on the toes of the defenders, and then they've had nowhere to go because there's 4 of them all packed into that central area, all stood basically in the same position. So it was a much better midfield performance, and you look at our which ironically is going to be I'm going to say the opposite in a minute when we talk about the finishing, but I think the midfield is our weakest area. I think defensively is our strongest area, and midfield is our weakest area. I don't think the problem is up front. I think the problem is always in midfield and creating chances. And yet yesterday, that was one of the things that we were really good at, creating them opportunities.
So the bit of a problem in Town is sitting in 5th. Is that, we're talking about you're trying to find little bits of details which Town could improve on, but yet they're still sitting 5th in the table, which, okay, some Town fans will say, well, they need to be higher, but it's still not a bad position to be in, Steve.
No, absolutely not. And I think it's only because, and I said this on Monday night when I had an argument with Chris Bell, who's a Lincoln fan, who presents the show on a Monday, and he was saying, you've got to be pleased that you're still 5th in the league, and I am. I think, I'm happy that we're in that position, that we're fighting to being around those top teams. But we do know that there are little things that we can improve and be better on. And as Cal previously took us down the dark alley, which we don't want to touch on too much, but, performances against Bradford and against Barnsley and Blackpool and Burton, teams that were crap against teams beginning with B. But it's these sorts of performances that have held the team back, and just think where we could have been if we'd have played like we did against Exeter in those other fixtures. And that's the frustrating thing. Yesterday was a really good example of how this team can be really good.
Carl, do you think that could be a case of the fact we are still only 10 games in here and 14 changes, new manager? I know I've gone on about it the last couple of weeks, but it takes a lot of time for everyone to be on the same hymn sheet.
It does. You're right. You don't have that luxury, unfortunately. You just don't. At this level, and with the expectations that the club rightfully have, given where we've been and given the resources that have been plunged into making this season a good one, you don't have that time. You just don't have the luxury of time. I would say Lee Grant will get more time than others and has certainly garnered more patience than others. By this point, people were starting to squirm a little bit about Michael Duff, going, well, maybe the performances aren't there and maybe the side aren't doing what they should be doing and maybe it's the manager's fault. That isn't happening, or at least I don't see that happening now. And as of right now, Lee Grant currently has the highest win percentage of any recent Huddersfield manager, bar, I think, Carlos Corberán, but we're not judging correctly there because you don't take longevity into it. Boring.
Carl, but do you think, is that, we're talking about past experiences of other managers and things like that, and, we're picking out parts here where, Steve's mentioned that the midfield might be a weak spot. We've got comments in the chat box about do we need a number 9, which I'm going to come on to, Joe. So thank you for putting that comment in there. We see yesterday, Town created a lot of opportunities, a lot of shots, but didn't finish. Town haven't finished article yet. And do you not think that yesterday was a huge step for performance-wise to go, actually, that's a really good performance that people can get behind? And that is going to stand us in long stead as the games continue, performances-wise. If they continue like that, the 19,000 fans that were there for Manchester City might turn up again because, you know what? They're going to work hard. They're going to put in performance. They're going to create chances. The next part is just putting the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, and I hope that's the case. I desperately hope that's the case. And after Doncaster, you thought we're building momentum. Then we beat Stevenage. You thought, oh, class, quality, brilliant. Then we beat Sunderland in the cup. You're like, oh my god, this side, it's clicking, it's coming together. Then you lose 3-1 to Barnsley, and that all goes out the window.
Yeah.
So I'll answer your question with another question. I've been spending too much time around politicians recently. I'm very sorry. But when does that end? When does the team needs time to gel argument expire?
Yeah.
I think, Steve, we're probably coming up to that kind of question. As Terry 930 says, October is looking very, very tough month. I think October fixtures will tell us a lot where we're heading this season. You'd probably say maybe then that question can stop being asked.
Absolutely. Look, the October fixtures, I think, is the toughest month in the entire season with how the fixtures have been drawn. And I don't know, is there an international break though this month? So that's the only thing that might break it up.
But Town didn't take it last time, so I don't think we'll take it again.
Yeah, that's true.
That's an international break at the end by the looks of it.
Yeah, so potentially 2 fixtures could be moved, but you are right, Kaine. They didn't take that last time. Cal makes an excellent point, and I think, a lot of Town fans feel the same, where because of the way that the club's gone over the last 5-6 years, and I know we're going back, but the trust has been broken between team and supporters. And last season we saw there were times under Duff where we were starting to maybe trust the team again, maybe trust the players, maybe trust the management and people, within the football club. And then it evaporated and collapsed. And by the end of the season, the trust was broken again. And I think that is very on a knife edge with Grant. It only takes, as Cal said, one result like Barnsley, like Blackpool, particularly like Bradford, where it's like having a glass wall and kind of throwing a tennis ball against it. And it only takes one really hard throw to break the glass wall. Now, I really want us to go on a good run of maybe 4, 5, 6 fixtures where we have really solid performances. And we might not win every game because we don't expect that as Town fans. But what we expect is really good, hard-working performances that create chances. And if we do that, fans will forgive the odd loss here and there, particularly in this next month. But yeah, it's going to be the acid test is this next month. And, I think trust is being built. I think the cup run has helped, I'll be honest. I think that's really helped Grant out, particularly in between the fixtures that have not gone so well. But if he comes through this next month and we've got something near 10, 12, 14 points, things will start to look really, really good, I think.
Cal, you want to expand on that from Steve?
I think you're right. I think so. Who have we got in October? So we play Stockport at home, Luton away, Luton Town away. There you go, famous chant there. I thought that'd be fun.
Bolton at home, Wickham away.
Bolton at home showing as a Thursday, and I'm not sure why. Is it on telly?
Yeah, it's on a Thursday, and it's at 8:00 kickoff.
No, I'm assuming that's on Sky. Wonderful. So it's a rough month. That is a tough string of fixtures. Can we come through it? I hope so. And like people have said, it's very much a litmus test for the rest of the season. But no months are easy months in this league. This league is notoriously difficult to get out of. And as Stephen said, I think it's taken a lot to rebuild the trust. But one thing that I will say is since we got shut of Mark Cartwright, I'm under the impression that the signings that have been made with the consultation of the management team.
Correct.
If that is the case, then you've been given the tools. You've got to make it work. Now, there's two things. There's two things at play, isn't there? Really. So there's Town being an entirely new side of all new players and gelling and finding their way under a new system. And then the other side, you've got a manager that hasn't had this pressure before and hasn't had a team of his own to manage up to this point. So there's two things there, two real sort of, you only ever want one of those plates spinning at once. We've got both. And sometimes it can complement each other, like with Corberan. That really did go well because we were a surprise package. And sometimes it really can't. And I think we're yet to see. We're not at a level where we can be a surprise package because everybody knows what we've thrown at this league. It's not a surprise that Huddersfield Town are going to come and expect to win.
No, but there is an expectation there, Cal. And I think there's a lot of pressure on the players to do that. There's a lot of pressure to perform. I do want to move on, gents. I've really enjoyed listening to what you both had to say over the last few minutes or so. I'm just going to put these on. Ian said we made them look poor, and that's in reference to Exeter. Kasuma enabled better performance from those around him with his energy. He really does have so much energy. It's like a Duracell bunny. He just never stops. Absolute engine on him. Right, okay. Back to Exeter, back to talking about lots of chances created. Do we think we're still lacking a proper number 9?
No. We've got 2, 3. Well, we've got 4 actually, but one of them doesn't score. The other one is it could be good, but needs to have 17 steak dinners with chips to get his strength up. And the other 2 are quality. in Alfie May and Joe Taylor. So we don't need, in my opinion, we don't need another number 9. Do we need a different type of number 9 that's not Freddie Ladapo? Maybe that's a fair argument.
What I would say on that, Stephen Cal, is that a lot of the chances fell to Ben Wiles yesterday, who's been in and out of the team over the last couple of weeks. And Joe Taylor did have an opportunity. I think that was his first touch. His first touch with the touch. The second touch of the game was the actual shot. I'm going to kind of forgive him for that one, and I'm sure a lot of people would too. So again, maybe a bit of match practice, bit of confidence. They're going to go in for Ben Wiles, right, Cal?
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because we, at this point, I don't even know how to explain, how to articulate this point. We have had goals from every single area of the pitch this year, and we spent so much money on getting a proper number 9.
Okay. Let's try and move on quickly from that then, Calais. What I would say is that Town fans listening, watching, putting your comments in, the fact that they made so many chances and had so many shots is a massive positive, and goals will come. The more shots you have, the more chances you create, the law of averages, goals will come. Okay,
just pull that graphic up, Kaine, with the pitch, because that gives a good indication of where the chances actually were in and around. Look at how many chances there are within the box itself. I think that's a really good indicator of how well we played in creating the chances, and it shows that we are getting in there. And to use your favourite terminology, we're getting the ball in the box, which nobody can't deny that we did that yesterday, because we did.
Exactly, Steve. And, you don't shoot, you don't score. Law of averages, more shots, more chances, the more opportunity that you're going to get. Okay, so let's move on. I know Michael's put a comment in there. I'm going to come on to that in a little bit. But some big news, some massive news. I think we can, before we come on to the next 2 games, Huddersfield Town have acquired the Aku Stadium. Wow. What a massive day that was for the club, Steve. They've been at the stadium for 30 odd years, and now they own it. They own it, and they can do what they want with the land around there. Obviously, the council will have to approve it. But this is massive for the club. This is such great news.
It is. It's wonderful news that the football club owns the stadium that it plays in. Built in 1994 as one of the most modern stadiums in the country at the time of its birth, let's say. And it's we've really made it our home. I mean, look at the amount of memories that we've created in those 30 years. Playoff campaigns, galore. Some superb players that the club become legends with. And we made it to the Premier League in this stadium. Let's not forget that. I think to own the other parts of the area as well, the 53 acres with kind of what Kevin Nagle wants to try and do with the land is a massive thing as well. How many times does a football club get to buy the stadium? But not only that, but the amount of land around the stadium where it can be used as development to improve not just the stadium, but the town as a whole. I mean, if I don't know how many supporters are watching this that regularly go into Huddersfield, but it's a dump. I mean, let's be honest. It is. And Bojan Radulovic was quite right to point it out last season when he said he didn't want to live in the town, because it's not good at all. But with a stadium to station way that the council want to develop, and the sorts of things that Kevin wants to build, the hotel, the sort of commercial elements around the ground, it could become a really, really great space for not just town fans, but for people in that local area. And, the opportunities are massive if it means that all that revenue then comes into the football club to buy better players, which hopefully would mean that we have a better team on the pitch, which would then, we go the divisions with. And I think it's great news. I'm pretty sure that Ken Davey will have got a nice little deal out of it himself for the Giants. Let's not forget that. Very smart businessman, whatever you think of Ken Davey. And obviously the council will be happy because all councils are pretty much in debt and are happy to get that sort of bill off their books. So, yeah, it's a good deal all around, I think.
Cal, what's your thoughts on the stadium being announced as now in ownership of Huddersfield Town?
Good, really good. Really important sort of clarity was added around it when somebody asked Nagel whether he owned the stadium or it was included within the football club's holdings, and he's informed us that it's under the football club's holdings. So that is excellent because that means that the stadium can't be used as leverage. I'm not saying Mr. Nagel would do that, but hypothetically, if the scenario arose where he was trying to sell the club and wanted to get X amount of money, he could have used the stadium as leverage to get that money or put somebody off a sale. So that now can't happen. And what that means is that the club is in a much safer position financially for having its own stadium. Not many teams around this country, let alone in this league, own their own football stadium. It is a very lucky position to be in. And it ultimately means that it opens doors to development and opportunities that we didn't have before. How long that will take, I'm not sure, but we'll see.
And fair play to Kevin. I think that needs to be pointed out. That was one of the things that he said when he first bought the club that he wanted to do. And he's kept his promise. And listen, things might not have gone well on the pitch for various reasons that we don't need to go over. But the one thing nobody can ever point to since he's owned the football club is he's not improved the stadium, whether it was his or wasn't his. And I'm pretty sure now it is his, or in the football club's capacity, like Cal says, that he will fast forward the plans that he's got tenfold. So really, really fair play to Kevin Nagel for getting the deal done and solving a problem, Kaine, that has been going on for about 25 years. So fair play to the bloke.
Yeah, it's been going on a long time. He said the council still have the freehold, but Town have the 300-year lease. You can go into the details, but basically, Town have got the stadium. They've got all the revenue that now comes in. They're going to have the rent from the Giants next year, which, bear in mind, I don't think Ken Davey would have signed anything until he gets permission to build a stadium somewhere. That's for a different podcast, for a different story, but that's also great news for Huddersfield. As Steve mentioned, the hotel looked to go up from Mr. Nagel. I think he'll put some retail there as well, a few restaurants, and I think it's going to be massive for Huddersfield Town revenue as well. It's just such great news. And again, the chairman, Mr. Nagel, putting everything that he said that he wanted to do into plan, and it's just fantastic news for a club to now own the stadium. Yeah, great news. Look, let's move on. We've got a couple of games to talk about. Huddersfield Town are away to Harrogate Town on Tuesday night in the EFL Trophy, the most pointless trophy going. But saying that, it's the most pointless trophy going. We've seen some academy players playing this cup fixture, and Dan Vostu made his league debut for Town yesterday. He's had his opportunity to shine in this cup, and again, okay, we call it pointless, and I think it is a bit of a waste of time, but to have players come through the academy, to have these opportunities, Cal, is massive. And Huddersfield Town should be going up to Harrogate on Tuesday and looking to win again, but also giving other players game time, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's a chance to rotate and give people game time. Harrogate, not a bad side. They'll give us a good test. It's one of those, isn't it, where I'm not too bothered about the result, but I am bothered about the players that play and the minutes in the legs, because there could come a point in the season where we need to dip into that pool of players and call upon some of the services of players that you wouldn't have put in maybe first time round. So the likes of Dan Vost, Cam Asher, Jay Sway, still maintain that was the best name in football ever. But the likes of those could be really important later on in the season. Should we get any injuries, or should the injuries keep sort of cropping up as they are, we're going to need to dip in there. So they're going to need the fitness that games like this provide.
Well, Cal, you've done that beautifully, because that means I can put this comment up from Michael Bottomless. The injury list is starting to stack up. Zepiquino, Redmond to join the injury list with Alves, Evans, Miller, Kaine, Watmore, and Chapman. Although Chapman has been involved in the last couple of squads, he hasn't been named on the bench, but he has been warming up, so that's huge for Chapman. Lyndon Gooch will be getting some minutes, we believe, on Tuesday, as well as Lee Grant mentioned that on his interview afterwards with BBC Radio Leeds after the Exeter game. But Steve, yeah, it's a weird competition, but it is giving players opportunity and game time.
Yeah. Listen, we saw in the last round, didn't we? Whilst I was sunning myself in Gran Canaria, where we played Newcastle and beat their kids quite comfortably, didn't we? But Harrogate will be a tougher test. They'll have lads in there that are Football League, sort of like stalwarts, older heads, as well as probably some young kids themselves. So it'll be an interesting test. I agree with what Cal says, really. It's just a chance to give players minutes. It gives younger players from our academy the chance to play in some proper men's football. I think Cam Asher will start. I think Vost will probably play. I can see Jay Sway playing. I agree with Cal, probably one of the best names in football. And probably maybe some others. I think Watmore has been training, from what I understand. So I don't think he's too far away. The others, I agree, are worrying in terms of the length. But, particularly Alves and Redmond being injured now for such long periods of time, I wonder what we're going to do with them come January. I know there's a long way to go until then. So, yeah, it's a good chance to win tomorrow. I agree, Kaine, it's a crap competition in a sense. But, listen, why wouldn't Grant want to go and win it? If we got promoted and he won this competition, it's another piece of silverware for the lads to be really pleased about, isn't it? So, winning breeds confidence, doesn't it? And what they can use this competition for is confidence.
Yeah, confidence is key. Getting that kind of confidence. Something I love to say on the podcast. You know that confidence is key. Everybody that is tuning in, watching on the comments, make sure you put in your predictions for the next couple of games. We'll ask our team as well, Steve and Cal, to come up with their predictions as well.
Ooh, our team.
Yeah, our team. That is right. Our team. That is right. Steve, I'm going to come back to you first before we come on to Cal. Stockport at home. What is being branded as a homecoming to the Aku Stadium, as it is now Huddersfield Town's home, and it is their home. And it's a massive game. It is a massive, massive game for Huddersfield Town on Saturday, Steve.
Yeah, well, I tried to preview this 2 weeks ago, if you remember.
We remember, don't you worry.
Then forgetting all about the Exeter game. But yeah, it's a huge game. It's a fixture that I'm a bit surprised at Stockport at the moment. They're below us in the league. I think they're 9th, 8th, 9th. They haven't been as fluid as what they were last season, the 7th. Okay, fair enough, for 7th. I knew that they were below us. But, they haven't been as impressive as what I thought they were going to be this season so far. They can have...
Oh, no.
They can be got at.
Oh, no. Steve, last time you said a team weren't that good, the biggest 3-1.
No. Stockport are a very good team. But all I'm saying is that they haven't been as good this season as what they were last season. I think they lost a few players, didn't they? The team's slightly changed. But I'm confident going into it. I think our lads can take great confidence from the Exeter result. But it's going to be very difficult because Dave Chandler is a very, very good manager. And, they've got players like Bate and if Norwood's still there, and they're very solid at the back as well. So it's gonna be a difficult game. But I'm really looking forward to it.
So Cal, Steve's put Steve's put the last nail in the coffin there for Saturday's game.
That's it. I might not even bother going.
Yeah, there's no point going now. Steve's already jinxed it. What are you wanting to see from Town on Saturday?
I want to see less respect than what we showed Bradford. We went into that game thinking they're a side that are in form. They're gonna come at us. We're gonna keep the ball, and we gave them respect, and we allowed them to play onto us, and we played to their strengths. And Stockport are no different. They will come out and they will come at us, and they look to play into those pockets. And if we allow them to open up, they will open us up, and they will beat us like Bradford did. We have to be more attacking. We have to be stronger in the first half, especially.
I thought Stockport were one of the best sides that I watched at the Aku last season. Probably in the top 2 after Birmingham. Obviously, Town got the victory that day, 1-0. But you would arguably say, Carl, that against Bradford, Town started very well. It just stopped after the first goal. And that yesterday's performance was a very good one with lots of attacking opportunities created, shots created. So what you could say is you want the first 20 minutes against Bradford and then the last 70 minutes against Exeter all next week against Stockport.
Yeah, and I think their league position, and if there are any Stockport fans watching, please don't send hate mail. But I think their league position is quite flattering because of the teams that they've come up against. Look at the teams that they've played and look at the results that they've come up against. They've lost to Wigan, then immediately drawn to Wigan. Then they beat Wolves Academy, then they lost 4-2 to Plymouth. Then, is that their last game? No, then they drew to Cardiff, they beat Rotherham, who were in the bottom 4, and then they drew to Reading. They're not brilliant results. They're not blowing teams away, are they?
So, Steve, a bit like you, Cal's, he's put the muck back on top of the coffin there.
If we're going down, might as well all go down together.
Might as well all just go down. It's going to be a tough game, gents. I think that's the key factor of it all. It's going to be a tough game. But I think we've got to talk about what we want to see from Huddersfield Town. And I think with what Cal said there, Steve, is the fact, I think it's what everybody wants. Just attack.
Yeah, well, attack, but also attack in the way that we know that we can. You know, I think.
Oh, that's so Town. That attack, but attack in moderation. Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing that we will definitely need to be against Stockport is very solid in the midfield, because if they get any control in that area of the pitch, they could really hurt us with the sort of players that they've got in and around there. I'd like to see. I'd like to see not many changes, if I'm being honest, Kaine. I don't want to see him swapping and changing the lineup. I think, we played really well against Exeter. Just either, if you can't, if somebody's got a knock, fair enough. But other than that, just leave it alone and let the lads go and do what they did against Exeter and try and recreate that against Stockport. Because otherwise, if you keep messing with the lineup, you're never going to get a consistent base to work off, and it's always going to be slightly disjointed in every single game.
So is that what you're talking about? You want plenty of changes on Tuesday, but a similar squad.
Yeah, Tuesday doesn't really matter, does it? I think.
I'm not saying that in a bad way, Steve. I'm just saying that's kind of what you're looking at for this week.
Yeah. Because I think Tuesday it does matter, but it don't in a sense. But Saturday's the one that we need to turn up with.
Yeah, Tuesday don't matter unless we get to Wembley and we're all there. That's basically what you're saying.
Well, you said that all last season anyway, so I'm going to repeat what you said.
We'll be doing a live podcast from Wembley, so Huddersfield Town, make sure you get there in the EFL Trophy. Gentlemen.
The logistics of us doing a live podcast all stood together.
Yeah, we're just going to do it on a phone. Just like that.
Like that.
Like a selfie, yeah.
Kaine's got contacts within the FA, I've heard, so...
We're going Club Wembley beforehand.
Yeah.
We're going in a box, and Town aren't even playing.
Yeah.
all smashed before the game.
That would be a podcast that I would watch.
Harrogate v Crawley in the final. Oh, we're here to do a live podcast on Town. Oh, it's the wrong one. It's Harrogate. Never mind.
Okay, gents, we're going to come up to some prediction scores, so you two get yourself ready because we're nearly ready to end the podcast this evening. Okay, so we have got some in. Mark Aronson says Harrogate Town 1, Huddersfield Town 2, and then Huddersfield Town 3, Stockport 2. We've got Terrier 930 saying Harrogate Town 0, Huddersfield Town 2, and then 0-0 at the weekend against Stockport. Ian says Town 3, Harrogate 0. Phil says Town 1, Stockport 0. And then Ian also says Town 3, Stockport 0 if we play the same attacking football like we did against Exeter. So, prediction time. Everyone's back in town pretty much, apart from Terrier 930. Disappointed in you there, Terrier 930. I thought you might have at least gone for a 1-0 victory for Huddersfield Town against Stockport. But Cal, the spotlight is on you. Predictions, please.
In what order would you like them? Would you like them to go league first, cup second?
No, probably just if you can go in fixture order, that'd be great.
Harrogate Town 1, Huddersfield Town 4. And then Huddersfield Town 1, Stockport County 0.
Thank you, Cal. Steve?
Always has to complicate it, don't you, Cal? Huddersfield, Harrogate Town 0, Huddersfield Town 2. Stockport, no, Huddersfield Town 1, Stockport County 1.
Oh, he wanted to say 2, didn't he? You could just see it. You could just see it, Steve. Honestly.
You now, Kim, when you do yours, you also have to read them out like the teleprompter on Sky Sports because we've both done it where we've gone Huddersfield Town 1, Stockport County 0. You now have to predict like that because we both did it.
I've been doing that for quite some time, my friend. It's one of my favourite parts of doing commentary at the end of a game. Forget about the roundup of everything what's just happened in the game. I get to go through all the scores and talk through them like I would do when I was listening to Sky Sports and BBC News.
You do the little added bits at the end where you go, Huddersfield Town 1, Stockport 0. It's the latest score.
Oh,
it's
more a case of these are all full time unless stated.
Oh, lovely.
Do you do the Scottish third division? Arbroath 6, Stenhouse Muir 7.
We don't go that far. We just go Prem, Champ, League 1, League 2, and then Halifax Town costs a local. I don't have that much time to speak, honestly, gents. Sometimes I have to get going.
Yeah. It's all about the Clydesbank third division, boys. That's where it's at.
It certainly is. My Scottish team's Arbroath. Anyway, going for Huddersfield Town 1, Harrogate Town 0, and we'll be going for Huddersfield Town 2, Stockport County 1. Okay, gents, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed me saying that. Thank you, everybody, for your comments as well. Really do appreciate when you do them. It really makes it a lot better for us to just talk, have a chat. Great questions coming in. Appreciate Joe, not really seen you before, so thank you very much for them coming in. Michael, Ian, Mark, Terry 930 as always. You've all been fantastic. Steve, Carl, you two are amazing. Thank you very much. Hope you all have a lovely week coming up. We've been the West Yorkshire Football Show. It's been the Talktown special. I'm Kaine Hall, and we shall see.